Welcome back to Virginia this morning. You never want to experience a natural or man-made disaster, but sometimes it can't be avoided. Our next guest says whether you're lost in the middle of nowhere, neck deep in it, it will never happen to me, or when the outside comes inside, there are 3 T's that can make all the difference in your survival.
Absolutely. Joining us this morning live via Zoom is survivalist Brian Brawdy, who is going to share his insights, and we welcome him to Virginia this morning. Brian, this is so important. You know, I think a lot of us learned in school years ago, in case of a fire, you have your safe place to go and all of those other things that we learned. But you kind of have to, it's kind of like they have spring training for baseball for a reason. You have to go back and refresh every once in a while and kind of relearn it. So walk us through some tips on how to get ready just in case.
Well, Bill, you raise a very valid point. Everyone years ago was talking about how to find a safe space. And today, to kind of demystify being a survivalist or preparedness, you are your own safe space. So when I joke with people going, you'll never guess, what's the number one piece of survival gear? Forget Rambo, forget the Bowie knife, forget calibers of bullets on that. The number one piece of survival gear is your mirror, right? So Bill and Jessica, you look into the mirror and you can practice in advance of an emergency situation, and you decide in that moment, am I going to lose my mind or am I going to keep my head? And once you decide that, you're unstoppable, you're unflappable, regardless of the emergency. You had mentioned the earthquakes. In the weather report, we talked about a possible tornado tomorrow. Doesn't matter the form catastrophe takes. What is first and foremost is that you remember you're already a survivalist. Mortal up, for goodness sakes. We've been surviving, Bill and Jessica, we've been surviving for as long as humanity goes back. You're already me. You're already a survivalist.
So you already are your best piece of equipment. And the first T that you have in this 3T strategy is your temperament, is getting yourself in that space of being able to tackle.
And I think you can do it in advance, Jessica, in the mirror, right? Because your mind doesn't know if it's real or it's imagined. Neuroscientists tell us this now. So when you practice, your mind's like, wow, must be real. He or she is going through it. Just like when you dream at night and you wake up and your pulse is racing and you're sweating and your legs are moving because your mind doesn't know you're not being chased by a grizzly bear. It thinks it's actually happening. So when you practice in front of the mirror, Bill, there's nothing you can't be confronted with where you draw in a deep breath and you go, I've practiced this before. I'm sure I can nail this and get out on the other end.
So being aware of what you can do and practicing that is a big step. Let's talk about some tactics, which is the second T.
Well, the second T is most important to me, is what I call the BEST acronym. You want to breathe in, and not to go too deep into it, but you want to breathe in through your nose, big a breath as you can get. The E in BEST is you want to exhale aggressively, get the diaphragm going, because what that does, Bill, is it tells the mind, wait a minute, how horrible can this situation be? He's breathing through his nose. He's exhaling. He knows where he is. How tough can it really be? And it keeps the amygdala in your mind, in your brain, from firing up and sending all kind of fight or flight or freeze chemicals. The S in the acronym for BEST is scan your horizon, scan your immediate area. And why that's so important, you not only want to take in, Jessica, what's coming at you, but if your eyes are moving back and forth, right? If you're scanning up, down, left, right, it's another signal to your brain that, wait a minute, he doesn't have tunnel vision. She's not petrified in place. How hard can it really be? And then the T in the BEST acronym is then you take action, right, Bill? You decide in that moment, breathe in, exhale, scan your horizon, get your brain on your side, and then the T for take action.
One of the things you pointed out in the notes I read was that you look behind you as well. That's a big mistake people make. It's like, well, if it's fight or flee and you choose flee, you got to be looking behind you because you may have to turn around and come back that way again and know that as well.
Bill, it's so important. And I think just a couple months ago out by you all, someone left their car during a winter storm. He was only 3 miles from his house, walked out, got lost, and unfortunately they found him the next morning and he had passed away. He suffered from hypothermia. So when you go out anywhere, you always want to turn and look back, because when you're coming home or you're coming back to the trailhead, how would you know what to look for if every so often you didn't turn around and look for it. So that's a part of the scan the horizon. Make sure that you're familiar 360 with everything going on.
Brian, one of the things that I've been reading a lot about lately, I do a lot of hiking, and so I'm always interested when I read the stories about somebody going out. And one of the key tactics that you share as well, let folks know where you're going. This may not be something you do all the time, but as you can, that's a key one. And then always take sort of a ready bag with you.
Jessica, that's a valid point, because we all become dependent anymore on cell phones. Oh, if I get in trouble, I'll just dial. But we all know of stories where people go to dial their cell phone and they have no signal. Then and Jessica, I did this from you since we were talking about quakes in the break. Quake Kits. This is did you call it a spirit lamp from Quake Kits?
Yes.
Did you call it a spirit lamp or a spirit light under the fondue?
That's right.
Bill was like, hey, is that a pocket fisherman's? Brian got the keys. No, here's my spirit light.
That's right.
How's that for lighting up your fondue pot? And then I just picked, Jessica, given whether I'm going to hike, whether I'm going to bike, whether it's going to be in a car, I pick a kit so that I can personalize it. Right, Bill? Like when you're thinking, I need medication, I need dog food, I need, I even bring stuff for the kids, because in an emergency situation, if you can give them some snacks, they're less inclined to be all panicked. Then you're not turning around going, it'll be okay, it'll be okay. You can face whatever the catastrophe is straight up. And so I want to take care of them. I bring dog food, right? Because we think of survival, but we don't always think of our pets. So, Jessica, personalize your kit, whether it's the car, the hike, winter or summer, and you'll be all set.
And have that with you, and keep your mind moving in the right direction while you're moving, and all of that. It really does make a difference. And all it takes is a little forethought. Just kind of sit down and plan.
Absolutely. And that's why I say it's the art of ready. Right, Bill? It's just the art of being ready. No matter what happens, then you're there. And then I put up all different other kinds of tips. If you go to quakekits.com/ready, it has everything. So if you're confronted by a grizzly bear, if you're broke down alongside of the road, any situation, remember, catastrophe is a great predator. But when you and I mortal up, we can face whatever flavor it comes in. When we believe in ourselves, we believe that alter ego of being a survivalist, we can withstand some pretty amazing things. And Jessica, thank you for saying fixins, because people give me a hard time all the time of saying ham and fixins, and I reckon. So I get yelled at all the time for saying reckon. So thank you so much for that.
Well, I reckon you have helped a lot of folks today, Brian.
And you're a bit of a ham, too.
I am a bit of a ham, Bill. Good luck today, by the way, with your appointment. Good luck, brother. I hope everything turns out as it should be.
Yeah.
Brian, appreciate you making time to talk with us today. These are some great tips, and it really is about having that mental preparedness.
I have a friend, my friend Gary, put in our fishing boat when we were going out for a trip. There was a little tube, and I opened it up halfway through the day, and it had water in it, and he'd written on the side, emergency ice.
Oh, there you go. Bill, but before we go, don't forget, you can last forever without food. You don't want to go a day without water, so your friend was very smart. We might be hungry, but if we stay hydrated, we're in a much better way.
Good deal.
Thanks so much, Brian.
Coming up by 3 p.m. today, VirginiaThisMorning.com is where you'll find all that information on this very important topic. There's still more for you to enjoy. Stick around. We're coming back, including Everywhere You Are, next.